Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad that you could join me today. I am CID Watchman. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, share, tell everyone that CID has dropped another video. And yeah, please do pray for those who are watching the video. I would like to speak a little bit about the importance of faithfulness and the consequences that result as a lack thereof. The choices that we make in life, they determine the outcome of our life. But the outcome of our life determines the start or the childhood of our children, the next generation. Now, it's not always our choices that determine the child's upbringing, the challenges they face, but most of the time, we as the elders are the ones who set the course for the next generation. Therefore, it is important for us to be faithful in all that we do, so that we can have the result of faithfulness. And because we have the result of faithfulness, the children that come after us are going to have a good start in life, and they can pretty much do better than we do in life. One of the examples that shows a mishap in faithfulness was when King David slept with Bathsheba, who was the wife of Uriah. Now, King David was a great king. He's got a great reputation, and basically he did a lot of great things in the sight of the Lord. But one day, as he was walking on the roof of his house, he saw Bathsheba, who was taking a bath, and it was normal during those days for women to take a bath on the rooftop if the men were out to war. At this point in time, David was supposed to be at war, but he wasn't at war. And he was at his palace. Bathsheba was a very beautiful woman. Now, when David had taken note of her beauty, he decided to call her into the palace, and he actually slept with her. Then he made a device, like he sent a letter to Joab, who was the army commander, so that he can get Uriah killed in the war, because the men were fighting on behalf of David. After Uriah was killed, David took the wife of Uriah, or the widow, because by this time her husband had died. She took Bathsheba, who was the widow of Uriah, and married her. Now, here are the consequences that happened. Bathsheba's child died because God was not pleased with how David had acted. Another thing that happened is God sent a messenger. He sent the prophet Nathan to go and speak to King David and tell him the consequences of his actions. One of the consequences was that someone who is a neighbor of David was going to sleep with David's wives. And this happened through Absalom. Absalom was one of David's sons, and Absalom slept with David's concubines. So David's concubines suffered as a result of David's actions. Another thing that happened was that God said that the sword would not depart from the house of David. So the whole house of David, anyone who was related to David and anyone who was a servant to David, was affected because of David's action. King David repented of his actions, and the Lord was quick to forgive him. But unfortunately, the repercussions of those actions were still there. It is important, therefore, for us to make sure that we do good, like we are faithful in everything that God has given us. Another place where we can look at where now faithfulness is positive. There are a few examples. Let's take, for example, Jesus. Jesus was faithful to the cross. He was faithful to the Father. He was faithful to whatever God wanted him to do on the earth. And as a result of Jesus' faithfulness, we now, the spiritual sons of Jesus, are benefiting from that. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So, if someone is unfaithful in their dealings, they cause bad things to happen to their generations. And if people are faithful and do good things, then the generations, the subsequent generations are positively affected. But with Jesus, we just mentioned that he is our spiritual father. But let's speak about, let's say, for example, Abraham. Abraham was also one of the faithful people to God. And because of his faithfulness, his physical generation, which is the Israelites today, are very blessed. And all the way to the Jews, they are blessed simply because Abraham obeyed God. So it is important for us to be faithful so that we can affect positively the next generation. Because if we are unfaithful in whatever we do or whatever God has given us, then we are negatively affecting the next generation. Well, I guess that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell everyone, and remember, I love you and God loves you. I'll see you in another one. Cheers.